Okay, this special meeting was called for Monday, May 18th, 2020 at 7:30 p.m. at Borough Hall located at 77 Summerhill Road, Spotswood, New Jersey. Pursuant to the provisions of the New Jersey Open Public Meetings Act, NJSA 10:4-8B, this meeting will be held by means of the use of electronic communications equipment. Due to the COVID-19 pandemic, no members of the public shall be permitted to physically attend the meeting. The public, however, is invited to attend the meeting electronically. This special meeting was advertised on the Spotswood website and in the Home News Tribune. Okay, I guess we'll start with the engineer's report. Oh, I'm sorry.
Let me just do roll call real quick.
Sure.
Councilman Ritchie?
Here.
Councilman Rivera?
Here.
Councilman Malillo?
Here.
Councilman Spacuzzo?
Here.
Council President Kramer?
Here.
Mayor Sealy?
Here.
Okay, engineer's report.
Thank you. The first item on my report is the 2020 local aid programs. I had issued a proposal and issued it with an amended date to it, which outlines the various roads I thought you wanted to do under the program, and I think you want to do under the program. So I just wanted to bring that to your attention. You have that, I believe that's a part of your packet tonight. And if not, it's just for you folks to make a decision on, so you can put your financing in place and move forward with that. The other item in there is PSG. They are doing work, but they can't do service work because that involves them going into homes. I don't know if that will change in the near future, but as of my last conversation with them, that was in fact the case. Regarding the contract, go ahead. Did anybody have a question on that?
No, I didn't.
I thought I heard
What's
somebody.
going on with the Cottage Streets again? You kept broken up.
Yeah, I was going to start that, but I thought I heard somebody speak and I thought someone might have a question for me. So next is the Cottage Street area improvements. The contractor tells me he's going to start on Tuesday, the day after the coming holiday. I've been speaking with him every week, and that was his latest report to me. If he doesn't arrive, I will let Mr. Sachs know. I've already let the contractor know that if he doesn't arrive, he can expect a letter from the borough attorney. Moving on to the improvements of Brunswick Avenue and the Karen Street drainage improvements. The Karen Street drainage improvements are done except for the pavement striping, which will be done when the striping is done on Brunswick Avenue. Concerning Brunswick Avenue, the contractor is installing the concrete curbs now. We have made numerous revisions to the storm sewer design to avoid the gas main and service conflicts, since the gas company is not able to relocate theirs, as I discussed earlier. This has caused the borough to incur numerous change orders, which I mentioned in this report for the last meeting. But there's one final one that we have to do, and that's relocate the 10-inch water main in Snow Hill Street in order to get the water main out of the way for the storm sewer to cross. All of the storm sewer is in except for the final connection to Snow Hill Street. That's an expensive item. We have all of this covered under the contract amount. We had items in the contract where we had some little bit of fat built in. We had items in the contract that we don't have to use. So far, based on our analysis this morning, there's no increase in cost to the borough, including this change order. I just don't want to delay that work, and I'm asking tonight if the governing body would give me verbal authorization to have that water main work done so that the project is not delayed. And for your next meeting, I would have the formal change order in your hands.
Hey, Bruce, it's Charlie. How confident are we that there's not going to be an extra cost? I know you can't be 100%, but do we have enough money, extra money, that you feel pretty confident that there won't be a additional cost to us?
Yes, Charlie, I'll explain it this way. Other than waking up at 3 in the morning thinking about it, when I got into the office, Malay and I spent 3 hours reviewing every line item in the contract. We believe even with the extras and this extra, we will bring it in at the contract amount. There is extra money in the ordinance. We do not believe we will have to touch that. So I don't think there'll be any increase in the contract amount unless we run into something else. At this point, I don't foresee that. But if we were to, then, but I mean, we're putting in the curbs, and then other than this final connection, then it's time to do the paving. So I'm really confident that we're okay at this point. And while you'll see adjustments to various items up and down, there will be no increase in the contract amount. In fact, if things go really well, we might actually build it for less than we contracted for.
Oh, okay, Bruce. So that being said, I don't know how the rest of council feels, but I'm fine with giving you verbal permission to proceed, so we don't hold the project up. I'd like to see that completed as soon as we could.
Yeah, I agree with you, Charlie. I think that's a good idea to give them verbal permission. Let's get it going.
Yeah, I second that. It's a good deal there.
Thank you, everybody. That'll help me move this along, and hopefully we're good to go. So I'll move on to Adirondack Avenue. I'll be the first to tell you, with all the work we've been doing for the last 2 or 3 weeks, juggling things on Brunswick, that has fallen behind the schedule we had. I hope by the next meeting, if not the one after that, to have it out to bid for you. I apologize for that delay. DeVoe Lake dredging, we're working on the permits right now. We have our environmental division working on the permits, and we'll be revising the plans so we can send that to the DEP for review. And the George Street water treatment plant, well number 4 is it's in artesian mode. We're not even running the well, and there's water coming out of it. It happens in the spring of every year. The DEP won't let us do the 24-hour test under that condition. We're trying to convince them to allow us to do it a different way. We're waiting to hear back from them. But if not, as soon as the artesian effect settles down, then we will be able to run that test and move forward with both the plant design as well as the permit to the DEP for the instantaneous increase in the allocation. And that is it.
Very good, Mr. Koch.
Thank you, everybody, for the vote of confidence on the change order. I will get that moving.
Thank you, Bruce. Okay, we have ordinance first reading, public hearing set for June 8th, 2020. That ordinance is 2020-9, an ordinance amending and supplementing the salary ordinance of the Borough of Spotswood entitled An Amendment to the Ordinance Fixing and Establishing the Salaries and Wages of Certain Employees of the Borough of Spotswood, County of Middlesex, State of New Jersey.
Council President, I think it's time to table this ordinance, along with tabling 2020 82, 83, and 84. There's no supporting documentation that's been provided to justify why we're spending this money right now.
All right, the council can vote on it.
Not only that, you haven't supplied any backing documentation on everything, and we're waiting on the state to decide whether or not we're going to get any funding come, with what's going on with tax revenues being flat or under. I think we're opening up a can of worms here we don't need to open up. I have a lot of questions about those 3 resolutions, but it seems the ordinance stems from that. So as far as I'm concerned, that should be pulled along with the 3 resolutions. That's my motion.
So this is Charlie, Larry.
Yeah.
I'm sort of in agreement with Ted also. I've been doing a lot of thinking about this. All our employees are very great, do a great job. But it's just not sitting well with me in the times that we're in now, not knowing what our state aid is, I think all raises should kind of be, not saying that nobody is deserving of them or going to get them, but right now I think we should wait to see when our state aid is going to be released and to see how much that is. So I think maybe we should just put a hold on this for now. Mr. Mayor, Dawn, do either one of you have any idea when we might hear from the state, when we might get those numbers?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, on the governor's call on Friday evening, that call was asked by both East and West Windsor, and there was some conference that quite possibly that's going to happen by this Friday, but there's nothing in stone at this point.
So that being said, I feel that maybe everything should be put on hold for now until we know what that is, because unfortunately in these times, nobody wants to say it, but I don't want to hand out raises today just so in 6 months, if times are bad, we have to let people go. I'd rather keep the people on. So I think we cross that bridge when it comes, but I think right now we're making a decision that should be held for a little while. That's just my opinion, so everybody else is entitled to theirs.
Council President,
Okay, so
it's Council President Larry Sachs. Just a quick question to the council. Maybe you should just take an informal poll now, if it's the inclination of the council to table this, and then during the regular meeting, an actual motion could be made at that point. So, since this is the caucus session, so.
Well, you know my feeling on it.
Okay. And I think I've heard Charlie's. I guess if we can hear from the other
Yeah.
council.
Well, I have to agree with
Jose?
him. So I have to
Jose?
agree.
Yeah.
It's not sitting right with me either, because apparently I'm already getting a lot of complaints and everything, so,
John?
I have to agree with the other two.
John?
Table it.
Same way? Councilman
Same
Kramer?
way.
Me? I say no, let's make a decision, but you guys, 4-1, so I guess it gets tabled.
All right, well, someone will make that motion when we get to the regular meeting. That's fine.
Okay?
Okay, thank you.
All right. So resolutions under consent agenda. 2020-78, Borough Council of Borough Spotswood authorized the appropriate officials to extend the EMS non-exclusive third-party billing agreement with DM Medical Billing of Gibbsboro, New Jersey, retroactive back to January 1, 2020, and commencing on December 31st, 2020. 2020-79, Borough Council authorizes a refund due to the tax overpayment of second quarter 2020 taxes by property known as Block 34-.1, Lot 12 of $3,595.84 to Fay Servicing, LLC. 2020-80, the Borough Council authorizes pay estimate number 1 in the amount of $201,957.79 is approved for the work performed by Jad's Construction Company for a project known as Improvements to Brunswick Avenue and Karen Street Drainage Improvements. 2020-81, the Mayor and Borough Council of the Borough of Spotswood does authorize the appropriate officials to have the engine of the total 2011 Crown Victoria patrol vehicle be installed in the current 2011 Crown Vic patrol vehicle for the cost of $1,600 plus the scrap vehicle be turned over to AAA management. 2020-82, the Borough Council of the Borough of Spotswood, with advice and consent, authorized Mayor Seeley to appoint Kate Leedy as Human Resources Officer, a stipend for this position for 2019 in the amount of $2,000 effective January 1, 2020. The Borough Council, the Borough of Spotswood, with advice and consent, authorized Mayor Seeley to provide a salary increase of $10,000 for the administrative assistant to the Mayor of the Borough of Spotswood and the business administrator position effective January 1, 2020. 2020-84, the Borough Council, the Borough of Spotswood, with advice and consent, authorize Mayor Sealy to appoint Kate Leedy as Human Resources Officer with a stipend for this position for 2020 in the amount of $8,000 effective January 1, 2020, and 2020-85, payment of bills. We've already heard the discussion on the three resolutions. So is there any other discussion?
Hey, Larry,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kramer.
Yeah, that's it, right.
Yeah, what's up?
Okay, on the bill list,
Yes?
okay, there's going to be a question on 20-00623.
Hold on, let me find it. Oh, here it is. And what was that one again?
20-00623.
623?
Yeah.
Cleary, Jacoby, Alfieri, and Jacobs, professional services rendered.
Yep.
Okay.
I understand. That's the council meeting that we had in January. The labor attorney was only approved up to March 31st.
Councilman Rivera, it may be that bill is actually probably for services rendered up to that date, but I will get, I think we did this before. Let me get a copy of the actual bill. And if you want to pull that from the agenda for this evening, that's the prerogative of the council.
No, it's just voted separately.
Okay, that's fine. But I have a feeling that's for previous services rendered. But I'll confirm that.
Okay. All right, so we'll vote on that separately.
Yeah.
Okay, anybody else? All right, so I need a motion to open it to the public.
Second.
Make a motion open to the public?
Segundo.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Open it up.
Anybody with their hand up?
No, I don't see anybody.
Okay, make a motion to close it to the public.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, give me a moment and we'll start the next meeting.
Just make
Make
a motion to adjourn.
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry.
Yes.
Somebody make a motion to adjourn?
Make a motion to adjourn.
I'll make that motion.
Charlie Spicuzza made the motion. Malillo said it first, but he said it.
All right, all in
Charlie
favor?
Spicuzza. Aye.
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 Okay.
Aye.
All right. This special meeting was called for Monday, May 18th, 2020 at 7:30 p.m. at Borough Hall, located at 77 Summerhill Road, Spotswood, New Jersey. Pursuant to the provisions of the New Jersey Open Public Meetings Act, NJSA 10:4-8B, this meeting will be held by the means of the use of electronic communications equipment. Due to the COVID-19 pandemic, no members of the public shall be permitted to physically attend the meeting. The public, however, is invited to attend the meeting electronically. This special meeting was advertised on the Spotswood website and in the Home News Tribune. I guess we'll have a call to order. We'll salute the flag and have a moment of silence for all those frontline workers and all those who lost their lives to COVID-19.
So far, you got 15 EMS workers that died in New Jersey.
Yes. Okay. All right. So let's salute the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America
States of America,
and to the republic
and to the republic
for which it
for which
stands,
it stands,
one nation,
one nation,
under
under
God,
God,
indivisible,
indivisible,
with
Justice for
liberty
all.
and justice for all.
and justice for all.
Okay.
Councilman Ritchie,
Here,
Councilman Rivera,
Here.
Councilman Malillo,
Here.
Councilman Spacuzzo,
Here,
Council President Kramer,
Here.
Mayor Sealy.
Here.
Council President,
So-
to begin the meeting, I'm going to make a motion that we pull the ordinance and pull the resolutions 2020, 82, 83, and 84.
82.
Is there a second?
I'll second that. I'll second that, Larry.
That was Councilman
Okay.
Spacuzzo? Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
All
Okay.
right.
Councilman Ritchie, am I going to go through
Yes.
roll call for that?
Yeah, you have to do a roll call.
Okay. Councilman Rivera,
Yes.
Councilman Malillo,
Yes.
Councilman Spacuzzo,
Yes.
Council President Kramer.
No.
Okay. So then for the resolutions, I'll just do,
Do the ones that,
2020.
yeah, 78
Okay.
and through 81 and 85.
okay. But we're going to exclude that bill list item that
And
Councilman
actually,
Rivera.
I'll tell you, Alyssa, why don't you do 78, 79, 80, 80, 81, and then when we get to 85, someone can make a
Okay.
whatever the motion is as to that, that can be made at that point. But why don't you do 78,
Okay.
79, 80, and 81?
Okay. Council President and council members, I'll take a motion to accept the resolutions on the consent agenda, resolutions 2020-78 through 2020-81.
Make a motion, we move those resolutions.
Seconded.
Councilman Ritchie,
Yes.
Councilman Malillo,
Yes.
Councilman Rivera,
Yes.
Councilman Spacuzzo,
Yes.
Council President Kramer.
Yes.
And as to 2020-85, I guess Councilman Rivera, you wanted to make a motion to exclude bill number,
No,
purchase
just
order.
to vote it separately.
Okay, well, all right, okay. So you want, all right, well, why don't we approve the bill list with the exception of that one, if you're gonna pull that for now? So why don't you make that motion?
Yeah, I make a motion that we exclude, hold on, 20, what I had before.
20-00623.
Exactly.
All right, you're adopting the rest of the bill
We
list?
voted separately, yes, on the bill list.
Okay. All right, so the motion would be to approve the bill list with the exception of 20-00623. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Okay. We need a roll call.
Okay. Councilman Ritchie,
Yes.
Councilman Rivera,
Yes.
Councilman Malillo,
Yes.
Councilman Spacuzzo,
Yes.
Council President Kramer.
Yes.
All right, and council, what you can do to 20-00623 is if you want me to, I will investigate what the timing on that bill is, and I'll get the detail for the bill. So, I mean, you've already excluded it from this bill list, so it's not obviously going to be approved tonight. So if that's the council's pleasure, that's what I'll do.
My question would be is that, again, the labor attorney was only approved till March 31st,
Right.
okay? And another RFP went out and nothing has been done about that yet.
Well, right now, he's a holdover, but I guess, I think we need to confirm if those services were rendered prior to March 31, then obviously that bill should be paid. And I will make that, I will get the information as to that. Unfortunately, I'm not privy to the backup for any of these items on the bill list, but I'll do that before the next meeting.
Hey, Larry, it's Charlie. I have a question for you.
Sure.
Being that the labor attorney is a holdover, even if the services are rendered after the 31st, we still have to cover those costs?
Yeah, I would think so, because, at this point, he's a holdover.
I'm sorry to interrupt, Larry. I'm only asking because, so I don't understand, can we just approve, if I make a motion just to approve this bill tonight, you could still check into it, but if the services were rendered, we have to pay for it anyway.
Absolutely. So you could make, if you wanted to, you could make that motion, Councilman Spicuzzo.
So I'd like to make a motion to move Bill 20-00623.
Second.
Roll call.
Councilman Ritchie? Councilman Ritchie?
Based on what Larry Sachs is telling us, yeah, move it, then pay it. He's in holdover status.
Councilman Rivera?
No.
Got to pay them
Rivera, you
anyway.
said no?
Then no.
Larry Sachs, you got to pay these lawyers anyway, right?
Well, we got to pay anybody for services rendered. It's not just lawyers. It's anybody who's on this bill list.
So in other words, if unanimously votes no, so what's the deal? You hold back the money and you don't give it to them, let them wait for it and all that stuff?
Well, if you pull this from the bill list and you don't approve it, then yes, they would have to wait to get paid.
Do you want to tease them? Then I'll vote no. Then.
Okay, all right.
Well, it's crazy. I mean, come on, you get rid of these guys and it's over. Come on, you got to pay them anyway. Pay the neck.
Councilman Malillo, are you voting yes or no?
So I can read back. Lawyers are beautiful.
John, you're voting no? Or yes?
I got to vote yes. Get rid of them. Yes.
Yes? Okay.
Councilman Spicuzzo?
Yes.
Council President Kramer?
No.
Hey, zone.
All right. Okay.
So what was the lineup here?
It's a 3-2 vote, so he
It's
gets
3
paid.
to 2. It's being paid.
All right. Get rid of it.
All right.
It's being
so-
paid. It's look away too.
All right. Any and all reports from liaisons and department heads?
I do have something, Larry. Just give me a second. I'm looking for an email right now from the rec department.
problem.
Okay, I found it. So I got an email. It's unfortunate, but because of the circumstances, I think everybody knew this was going to happen. But the rec board voted to cancel the summer offerings. So that means they had canceled the fishing derby, Woodstock car show and concert, the Spotswood Chargers football and basketball summer camps, the arts and crafts program, and the tennis camp. So I just wanted to let all the residents be aware that those programs will not be happening this summer, unfortunately.
Yeah, true.
And that's all I have for now. Thank you.
Wonderful COVID-19. Thank you for the report, Charlie. Anyone else? All right. I would like to say that, I appreciate the fact that our EMS are out there on the front lines, our police department, our fire department still responds to calls. I have to commend Jose, being on the Office of Emergency Management with him. This guy does more phone calls, more conference calls with the county and the state, and I don't think he gets enough credit for what he does. I just wanted to say thank you for keeping us informed and keeping us safe, to you, Jose, and to everybody out there on the front line.
Thank you.
Good.
So let's open it to the public. A motion to open it to the public.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Jackie Palmer, 9 Shupin Street. Good evening,
Hello,
guys.
Jackie.
Oh, what a Jackie.
Thank you, Ted and Charlie, for questioning those resolutions in the ordinance. I do have a question as to why we would approve a bill that is a question as to what the services are that were even provided. So I guess why would we have voted to pay that bill when the attorney didn't know what was in it to tell us what dates it covered, and clearly none of you had a copy of the bill to see what that money was for?
Which one is that,
It
Jackie?
was my understanding.
She's probably 23.
Oh,
okay.
Larry, if you don't mind, I'll jump in real quick.
No, go ahead.
Jackie, I voted to move that bill because what was in question was the timing, in my opinion, of the services that were rendered, not what the service was rendered.
Well,
So that's why I asked Larry if it was a holdover, what we'd have to pay anyway. I did also say that if Mr. Sachs would like to still look into it, he's more than welcome. But I didn't think that holding the bill was going to resolve anything.
well, my concern is that we know that historically there have been questions regarding the finances across the board. So when situations such as this come up, I'm wondering why we wouldn't take the extra 2 weeks to say, hey, let me have a look at that bill first before I just blanket pay everything. Because I think that's where we are in I think that's where we're in a situation. So while it was wonderful that we pulled the ordinance to say that, we have to relook at these salary ranges at this point, and it's a poor timing, we kind of just shot ourselves in the foot saying, well, I don't really care what the bill says itself. If he did services, which we don't even know, he could have put that he had in that bill, he could have mistakenly put that he had a conversation with Helmeta's, mayor rather than ours, and he misbilled us. But we didn't look at it. And so that's my point. But we'll move on for that because I have a couple other issues with the labor attorney. And maybe Mr. Sachs, you can
Sure.
answer some of these or none of them, or you can pass it off to council. Either way, it doesn't matter.
All right.
Why would this labor attorney even want to continue on month to month without a contract when he knew that council had said March 31st? And he's a labor attorney. Wouldn't he want his contract extended? And then that gives me pause to say, what kind of a labor attorney is he if he doesn't have a contract to do work?
Okay, well, if you want to answer all the questions, or you want me to answer them?
I'll ask them all. I'll go right down, so you might want to take notes.
I'm writing them down.
And I know, and you know this, Larry, too. That was probably rhetorical because I know you think, I know. So we had an RFP that went out in February, and it came back in early March. My understanding is there were 3 applicants to that RFP. Was the current labor attorney one of those applicants?
Okay. I'll go ahead. Ask the questions. I'm writing them all down. I'll give you an answer as to all of them.
If he was, terrific. If he was not, why did he not put in for the RFP if he was interested in being retained as the labor attorney?
Okay.
And if he did not put in, then it seems to me that unfortunately, while it's the mayor's appointment and the mayor can choose who he wants, we do have to follow an RFP. So you have to choose from the people who put in from the RFP. You can't just arbitrarily pick, anybody. Or else why would you have even put out the RFP?
Okay. So those are your questions?
Yep, go ahead.
Okay. All right. To answer your first question, why he's chosen not to operate with a contract, I really can't answer that. You know, you're right. That is somewhat of a rhetorical question. I don't think I can answer that. That's something that would have to be answered by the law firm, by the Cleary law firm. As to the RFP, I had a conversation with the current labor attorney, and I'm told that he was not aware that an RFP was out. Now, I don't know who was responsible for advising him, if it was the clerk's office, the mayor, or whatever, but he was not aware that the RFP, I guess the RFP date was even out there. And that's apparently why he didn't submit a request for proposal to be considered. And I guess the answer to your third question is yes. In order to appoint any professional services, and I guess here we're just focusing on any type of legal counsel, yes, there is a process that has to be followed, which is the RFP procedure with and in compliance with the pay-to-play laws.
I don't hear anything now.
Yeah, and at this point, it's really up to the administration to act on those RFPs.
So, well, I guess 3 other people knew that the RFP was out, and
right.
While that's a nice story from
no, it's not a story. That's what
that he didn't know, he
yeah.
also knew that the council didn't want to keep him past March.
Right.
So likely there would have been an RFP that was coming out, so he might have wanted to stay on top of that.
Right.
And I would assume that if it were my choice, if I were in that position and it were my choice that, I wanted him to stay on, I probably would have made sure he put his paperwork in. Mm-hmm. So I would like to now know then what is the holdup on this? We have 3 people who've been waiting.
It's really a decision at this point by the administration. So the administration has to determine whether they want to hire any of those attorneys who submitted the RFPs.
And what if they choose not?
Well, I think they have to. I mean, an RFP was out there, so some action has to be taken at some point on this. And
like, how long do we let them wait?
Well,
I guess is my question.
Well, I don't think we should wait forever, quite frankly. I mean, I do agree that it's a position that needs to be appointed. But again, that's the prerogative of the mayor and the administration. So
then can we have an answer, maybe Mayor Sealy? Do you have a comment on that?
Yes, I do, Jackie. How are you tonight?
I'm fantastic. And you?
I'm good, loving life.
Living the dream, friend.
I have been informed, and Mr. Sachs can correct me if I'm mistaken, that the choice is mine. If I don't want to change the attorney or do not want to accept an RFP that I did not ask for, that I don't have to. And that lawyer that I have now would be a carryover until the end of the term. That would be my answer. I have no problem with this man. I've seen nothing he's done wrong to the borough. Other people have. I respect your opinions, but I don't see that, and I deal with him quite a bit.
Well, and so what you're saying is, Ed, that the RFP doesn't come out of the administration office. It came from the council?
Council requested the RFPs, yes, not me.
So do they request the RFP? So at the end of last year, when the new RFP went out for all the council and all the appointments, that none of that came out of the administration office, it came from the council?
The original ones you're talking about pre-January?
Yes.
I don't believe we even requested RFPs. They just normally come in. You know what I mean? When
I'm sorry, could I ask Alyssa, like, is that the process, or Pat, or can you clarify what the process is on an RFP? Because
I know that by the end of the year, RFPs have to go out for like labor council, borough attorney. That's normally comes out of the clerk's office.
So it's not from the administration and not from the council? It just,
from my knowledge, the clerk has to put out the RFP for those kinds of positions.
So do you remember who requested the RFP or why it went out, or if it went out just because the council had determined that they weren't extending the Labor Council passed March.
Actually,
I believe
Jackie,
it was.
let me, I
If
think
Larry
I,
Sachs wants to answer, that's fine.
yeah, that's right. Let me give some historical perspective. And I think Alyssa is correct. The RFPs were posted, I guess, in December for the 2020 calendar year, for the 2020 year.
That's
And
correct.
that was for Labor Council, Bond Council, Tax Appeal, Borough Attorney, any of the legal positions. And I believe at one of the early council meetings, it may have even been the first council meeting in January, there was a motion not to approve the RFP of Cleary, Alfieri, and Jacobs for no more than 3 months. So that was what the motion was, and that was voted on. Subsequently, I believe it was probably in February when a discussion at a council meeting as to a new RFP, and that's the RFP we're talking about now, where there were 3 law firms that submitted proposals, one of them not being Cleary Alfieri. And I've since been told that they were not even aware of the posting of that RFP. Now, I'm assuming the RFP was posted by the clerk's office, as it always has to be. But, it is the mayor's prerogative not to approve any of the RFPs that were submitted. So I'm assuming that's what the administration's position is at this point. Now, do they want to go out and solicit a new RFP to see if there's other law firms that might be interested, including Cleary Alfieri? Because I'm assuming now that they're aware of it, they probably would apply for it, or it would be in their interest to do so. But then again, that's a decision that the mayor has to make. And I, having heard what the mayor said, I would concur with him.
So is there any situation legally that we can be in non-compliance since we put the RFP out and these 3 other attorneys potentially wanted it and haven't heard anything back, and they come to find out that a different labor attorney that didn't even put in for it?
Well, I think what could happen is, and probably the wise choice at this point would be to maybe repost the RFP, and this time let all these law firms, including the ones that submitted, let them know that you're reopening the process. They'll submit their RFPs. Other law firms, I'm assuming, might do the same, including Cleary's office. And again, then it's strictly up to the mayor's office to determine which labor attorney they want to go with.
So that sounds like bid rigging to me, because the mayor just said that he doesn't want to have.
It's not big rigging. It's not big rigging. I agree that something has to be done. We can't leave it as an open situation.
Right. But what I'm saying is the mayor just said at a public meeting that's recorded that he has no intention of bringing on another law firm, and we're going to open up an RFP and say, hey, why don't you all bid on this job again?
Right.
You're gonna choose that lawyer anyway. That's
then I think it would be up to the mayor to tell the 3 law firms that submitted their RFPs that he's not going to appoint any of them, and then we're stuck in the same situation.
Right, you're absolutely right. That's my point.
Ultimately, it's the mayor's prerogative to appoint whatever law firm he wants to appoint, he or she wants to appoint. All right. Based upon RFPs that are submitted.
Correct. Okay. So I just was kind of trying to look out and make sure that we don't have multiple lawsuits coming at us again.
No, we're not. No, by the way, we have no lawsuits because we haven't selected anybody.
Well, so not yet. That's what I'm saying. We haven't selected, but we're
it was merely a request for proposals. All right. And it's really the mayor's decision at this point as to what he wants to do next with respect to Labor Council.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you, Larry.
Yeah, no problem.
One more question, Council President. Last meeting I had asked about the SAMS number. That was 17 months delinquent. I got the notification the day after the meeting from the paperwork that showed that the business administrator did now, 17 months later, submit for the SAMS number. And my question is, what action was taken on the negligence of not doing your job for 17 months. And I probably know the answer, but I'd like to know what it is.
Mr. Mayor, would you like to answer that?
Let's see, 17 months. I guess we could scratch 6 of them for the suspension, so we'll knock it down to 11 months. That sound fair?
I don't know. If I didn't do my job for 11 months, I'd likely be fired.
Yeah, you and me both.
I mean, and I think anybody here could raise their hand and they'd probably have some sort of disciplinary action. I'd probably be fired, but at least there'd be some disciplinary action. But I'm just curious. Do we have any reason? Is there any reason why it wasn't done for 17 months? Did you ever get an answer as to why that happened?
I'll tell you what, I believe Dawn is on this phone call. Dawn, want to answer that?
Sure, Mayor. It was my understanding that it was done. We were getting all of our regular federal grant monies with no indication of any problems.
Were you notified that it was due 17 months prior?
I looked back at my emails and I did see reminder emails, but to my recollection, I did take care of that. So I don't know why it wasn't updated in the system, but it was rectified the day after our council meeting.
Yes, I know, but it was 17 months late and you did get notifications and basically you didn't do your job. And rumor has it there was a reason you didn't do your job.
I just told you that I did recall renewing it and we continued to get all of our federal grants through SAMS.
You were all doing it, but it wasn't done.
And we were getting all of our federal grants that we do through SAMS. So there was no indication that there was a problem with the renewal.
Which grants were they done?
They would be the Office on Aging grants, the traffic safety grants, our FEMA grants.
And they all require the SAMS number?
Yes, they do.
Oh.
And also our application for the NJIB and the funding for the cottage streets is also through that number.
Interesting.
And all of that went through with no issue.
Oh, well then I guess there's a lot of people who aren't doing their jobs, since we know for a fact that you didn't do yours and you continue not to do yours. And now there's somebody else doing most of your job too, who needs to be paid more money. So isn't that interesting? Thank you.
Anybody else?
Anybody else?
That's right. Anybody
I don't
else?
think, oh, hold on.
Yeah, well, John Bouchard, 40 Maiden Lane. I'm just curious, I know obviously the last few months have been wild, but if there's been any update on the hot patch asphalt,
Well, I'm sorry, John. Once the budget is through and approved, they'll purchase the hot patch machine. We're hoping it'll be soon because there's a few places that need to have some repairs done. So it's just a matter of freeing up the money for them to purchase it. It's already in the budget, so it will be done.
Council President, can I jump in, please?
Sure.
Okay. The budget is now adopted and it's in the capital plan. We have to do a general purpose bond ordinance in order to appropriate the money for the purchase of the hot patch machine, and that is scheduled for the next meeting.
Outstanding.
Perfect. You need it. That's it.
excellent. Yeah, thank you for that. I know I've brought up my street a few times before, and it's unfortunately the work that was done with the cold method has been largely undone by the weather. So we're in desperate need of some repair down here.
Yeah, that's our problem in a lot of places in town. That was why it was such a hard push to get this hot patch machine. It can make a lot of troubles go away.
Excellent. Thank you for the quick update. Appreciate it.
No problem. And thank you, Dawn, for that update. Anybody else? Make a motion to close the meeting.
Larry, I have
Yeah.
a question. Zach.
Oh, wait, hold
Yeah,
on.
what's
There's
up?
someone else with their hand raised if you want to wait.
Yeah,
Go
well,
ahead.
what was the question you had?
Go ahead. The person that had raised their hand, let them talk first.
All
Hold
right.
on, let me unmute him.
Hello?
Hello?
Colleen Ronco, 118 Manhattan Road. With respect to those ordinances and the resolutions that you pulled with respect to Kate's salary increase, is there a, not a job description, but, well, maybe a job description. Is there something that says what the requirements for the job are, that you have to have a college degree, that you have to have 5 years of experience in this? Is there any kind of a paper anywhere that says what she's supposed to have, what the qualifications are in order for her to be taking on that job? Because based on some of the things that we read, I mean, she's going to be doing things such as, you know, negotiations for the union. I mean, does she have any experience in that? I'm real curious as to what the actual qualifications for that job is. And if it's written down anywhere, or are we just appointing people to jobs without any kind of a recommendation as to what the qualifications should be?
I really can't answer that. Maybe Dawn can answer that since she's provided that role for the township in the past. I don't know much about HR.
Actually, Councilman Kramer, maybe I can answer Colleen's question. Because I
Sure,
think
go
in the
ahead.
resolution, one of the job descriptions is handling any issues with union contract interpretation or inquiries and union grievances in consultation with the labor attorney. So obviously, she's not going to be negotiating contracts. As human resources officer, she essentially, if there is some type of question asked about that, she would then refer it as the human resources officer to the labor attorney. So
I understand that, but my concern is what qualifications do you have to have that job? Because if we're just going to take everything and send it over to Larry Sachs, well, then let's just hire Larry Sachs on full time and get rid of all these people that we're paying to not do jobs that they're not qualified for.
well, I would hope any legal issues are going to get referred to me anyway. But you know, she's going to handle the personnel issues that arise in town. You know, as to the issue of qualifications, I don't know if there's any type of necessary qualification you have to have. I mean, certainly, if we were to look through all of the municipalities in New Jersey, with this position, you'd find the gamut of educational background and experience. So it's not like it requires a certification necessarily. Obviously, business administrators tend to be certified of some sort. Finance administrators, tax assessors, you know, there's certain certifications involved with that, but not for a human resources officer.
So I don't know of any job that I've ever held or that anybody else has ever held, including my husband, where the human relations person doesn't have some kind of qualifications, at the minimum, a bachelor's degree in something. So we're just going to allow these individuals to we're going to hire somebody into a job that she's not qualified for. And then when everything gets all screwed up, it's on the backs of the taxpayers to pay out all these lawsuits, just like all the lawsuits from the police department because Dawn doesn't know how to do her job. So now we're going to hire more people that don't know how to do their jobs because somebody owes somebody a favor somewhere and because the mayor doesn't want Kate going around and talking anymore. That's basically what it boils down to. And Larry, you shouldn't have promised her the money in the first place because you did, and that's exactly why you voted yes for this to go through, because you promised her it. I'm done with this.
Did she have a harassment claim against the mayor?
Of course she did.
No.
We can all just sit there and call people to each other.
Anything else?
No, I'm done. We're all going to do whatever the hell you want to do anyway.
Let's go.
Make a motion to close.
Hey, Larry.
Hold on.
There's more people. There's
hold on.
more people waiting
Yeah.
in line.
Oh, my God.
All right, hold on.
Che bella canzone, Madonna.
Lucy Branco Rivera, 46 Herbert Avenue. That was lovely singing, John. I appreciate it. For the HR thing, I'm sort of like perplexed as to why we are repeating the same mistakes we've made in the past with just giving people increases without checking for proper qualifications. And I know all about certifications and all. It's about what you can and can't do. I also have a serious issue with taking away part of somebody's job and not changing the job description and not changing the salary associated with it. So if the BA is supposed to do the HR position and her salary reflects that that's part of the job, whether it's her or him or whomever, then let them do the job. I know that there's been problems. Yeah, I get all of that. But you know what? Let her do her job and let her supervisor, which would be the mayor, supervise her. And if there's an issue, he needs to write it up, like disciplinary action, because that's what happens in a business. If you people owned a business, you would not take away part of somebody's job, give it to somebody else, pay them more money, thereby increasing your payroll costs, and let the other person just go to skate. You wouldn't do that in your own business. Why would you do it here? You need to start running Spotswood as a business. This is a business and you have a budget and you need to maintain to it. And you need to be logical. It's not about who likes whom and who has what on whomever. It's a freaking business. Run it that way. You don't give people increases just because. And if you're going to diminish one job, then you diminish the salary. And then you can hire somebody else, whomever that may be, to do that other piece of the job. If you want to split the job, then split the job. And that means you split the salary. That's how it works. That's how businesses work. Not this, okay, you don't have to do it because you're not really good at it, so somebody else picks it up, but I'll give you more money for it. This is my money you're talking about. And all of you pay taxes too, and I am just perplexed at why you are not all appalled, as I am, that this is going on. And I mean everybody on the council, except for maybe the three who said no. Okay? Because this is just crazy. It's just absolutely crazy. Oh, well over a year ago, maybe 2 years ago, I, along with several other people, had suggested that you make the BA position a part-time position. And there is your answer to all of your little problems. Make the BA a part-time position. We are a small town. We can do it. If South River can handle it, so can we. And then you can have your part-time HR person to handle your part-time HR problems. And you would still probably have money left over. Thank you very much.
Okay, there's one more hand raised. Hold on.
Good evening, all. Mary Kate McDonald, 177 Kenneth Court. Hope everyone is doing well. First of all, I would publicly like to apologize to Kate for my tirade at the last meeting. I personally feel that I know this is a rough time with finances for everyone, and it is a bad time to give out a raise. I'm not going to deny that. But for someone who held the helm for the 7 months while Mrs. McDonald was on her paid vacation, I think that Kate does need to be reimbursed or for her duties. Again, I do want to apologize to her. She is a hard worker. No matter what you ask her for, she does it. And I feel that maybe not the salary that you have said you wanted to give her, but she should be reimbursed for something. And again, I thank you all, and I hope everyone stays healthy, safe, and blessed. Thank you.
Thank you, Mary Kate. You too.
Hey, Larry, this is Charlie, if I may. Mary Kate, I want to make this known too. I'm not saying because it's Kate we're doing any of this. I'm saying in general that I feel that we shouldn't be handing out money at this point. So it's not a personal thing by any means. It's a blanket statement, and that's why I feel the way I feel. I think Kate does a great job, along with all of the employees we have down there.
Yes,
So I
have
just wanted to put that out there.
They all do a wonderful job, and they all need to be compensated. And that's why I feel, I know it's a bad time to be giving out money, and perhaps 20,000 is a little excessive at this point, but I do feel that she needs to be compensated for the 7 months that she took over and ran the department.
Well, hopefully when we get that state aid number, we have more information to go by and we could do something.
And thank you for just letting me have my little piece. But again, Kate, I do apologize. Thank you.
Okay, there's one more. There's one more hand raised. Hold on.
Okay.
Thank you. Lowell Miller, Shemansky Drive. A little upset about the attorney bashing tonight, but that's not why I'm talking. I got a question. I just want to make sure the tennis courts will be open as of tomorrow.
I have no idea about that. Mr. Mayor, do you know anything about that?
I absolutely do. They're open right now.
Super duper. Just want to confirm that. Thank you very much, sir. That's it.
All righty. All right, there's nobody else with their hand raised. Make a motion to close the
Hey,
meeting.
no, Larry, I got something for Larry Sachs.
Yeah.
Yes, sure, Jose.
Oh, okay, go ahead.
You know, I got interrupted so many times, so I got a question for you. Right now,
Yes.
we only approved the labor attorney until March 31st.
Right.
Okay, anything after that, all the bills that come in after that, all right, that's not, we didn't authorize anything after that for being paid.
Well, you didn't authorize anything after that, but you know, the professional positions really are holdovers. So there has to be some action that the mayor will have to take here. So, I mean, I think my opinion, it probably should be.
Okay,
Sorry.
The other question, when you turned around, says that the labor attorney didn't know nothing about anything.
Yes.
What are to babysit them too? To tell them
I agree.
On the newspapers, like everything else. Okay, and people, other attorneys put in for it.
Right. Jose, let me just explain.
Me personally, I'll tell you right now, I have no trust in this attorney at all.
Right.
Okay, from other stuff that was mentioned and everything. I can say, but as a councilman, okay, I don't believe anything what he says.
Right. All right. Jose, let me just respond to the RFP process because I know the other towns that I represent, when an RFP is being posted, out of courtesy, the town always lets me know. In fact, they'll send me the RFP just, you know, I mean, at this point, I know to submit it, okay? I've been doing this long enough to know that. But there was for some reason, the Cleary firm was not made aware that a new RFP was going out. And I don't know, you know, where it fell through the cracks on that issue. So ultimately, it's really the mayor's decision, though, to appoint a labor attorney. And if the mayor is not satisfied with the 3 RFPs that were submitted, then he will let those law firms know that they're not being approved to be labor attorney. The next issue is either appointing a labor attorney on a new RFP and letting these people come back in if they want. You know, if the 3 law firms want to bid on it again, they certainly can do that. But again, it's the mayor's prerogative and the administration's prerogative to determine how they want to proceed forward on this.
Can I pipe in, Larry?
Yes.
Larry, Jose, rest of the council, I will have a decision made for you by the end of this week.
Fair enough.
Okay, since I don't see any other hands raised, are there any?
No.
Okay, I'd like to make a motion to close the meeting.
We'll close the public first and then.
Public portion, yeah.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Make a motion to adjourn?
Aye, second, yes.
All in favor?
Yes.
Aye.
Yes, aye, yes.
Stay safe, everyone.
Good night,
You too,
everybody.
Same
Charlie.
here, everybody. Wear the mask, wear the
Good
mask.
night.
Wear the mask.
Good night, everyone.
Good night, everybody.
Good
Stay
night, good
safe.
night. Wear the mask, that's
All
it.
right.